Welcome back, everyone. In today's video, we're going to talk about the percent of increase-decrease, also known as the percent of change. And to get the lesson started, we're going to take a look at the definition of the percent of change. So percent of change simply tells us that the percent and amount has increased or decreased. So when we take two values, let's say you started with $5 in your wallet, and then your mother or father gave you $20. So you now had a total of $25, where we're going to look at and determine, well, what percentage did your money increase? You obviously increased by $20, but what percent of is that compared to your original? And so that's what we're going to start with today. And to do that, we use this formula right here. Percent of change is equal to the new number minus the original number times divided by the original number. You take that fraction, change it to a decimal, you multiply it by 100, and then that gives you your percent of change. Let's take that example and apply this formula and determine what percent your money increased. So in this case, you started with $5 in your pocket, so that's going to be your original amount. So your $5 is your original amount of money. So that's going to be your original number. Your mother or father gave you $25 or gave you $20, so now your total money has increased to $25. So you started with $5, you gained $20, so now you have a total of $25. So this is going to be your new amount. So now we're going to apply our formula. We simply take our new number, 25, we subtract from it our original number, which was 5, and then we divide that by our original number. So when we do that subtraction, we end up with 20 over 5, and 20 over 5 simplifies to 4. So then to find our percent of change, we're going to take 4 and multiply it by 100. And when we multiply 4 by 100, we get 400. This is going to be 400%. That's what happens. That value we get after we multiply 100 is our percent. So if you started with $5 and your parents gave you $20 more, they increased the amount of money you had in your pocket by 400%. That sounds a lot more impressive than just by $20. So let's try another example. So here we're going to find the percent of change from $100 to $80. So our first step is to find the amount of change. So again, it's the new number minus the original number. So if we're finding the percent of change from 100, that means that 100 is going to be our original number. So I'm going to mark that with an ORIG. That's my original number. And then my new number is $80. So I'm going to mark that as my new number. So to find the change, remember it's new minus the original. So my new number is 80. My original number is 100. So I'm going to do 80 minus 100. And so when you do that subtraction, you'll notice you get a negative value because we're going to get negative 20 for that. All right, so then we're going to take that and we want to divide that by the original amount. So now we're looking at our fraction. We've got our new minus the original, which is negative 20. So now we're going to take negative 20 and divide it by our original amount, which was 100. So now we take negative 20 over 100, we change that to a decimal, and when we do, we get negative 2/10. And then we apply our multiplication, and we're going to multiply that by 100, and when we do, we get negative 20, and remember this is a percent, negative 20%. So something you want to keep track of is that when you do your subtraction, you get a negative value, that means you have a percent of decrease. Your value went down. So in this example, perhaps you started with $100 in your pocket, you went to the store and bought something for $20, you're now left with $80. That is a 20% decrease. 20% decrease. Now let's take a look at our next example. And for our next example, we want to find the percent of change going from $24 to $36. So remember, $24 is our original and $36 is our new. So we want to find the amount of change. So remember, we're going to do new minus the original. So we're going to do 36 minus 24, which gives us a total of 12. The next thing we want to do is then divide that change by our original number, which in this case was 24. So we're going to do 12 divided by 24, which is going to give us a fraction of 1/2. And then we're going to take that and we're going to multiply that by 100. Remember, 1/2 is simply 5/10. And when we multiply that by 100, we get 50. So that means that that was a 50% increase from our original amount. And if you think about it, it makes sense. Our original amount was 24. Half of 24 is 12. And when you add 12 to 24, that gives you 36. So we added half of the amount of money we had. So that's an increase of 12. And that is how you find the percent of change. Things to remember: if your difference is a negative, you're going to have a percent of decrease. If your difference is positive, that is a percent of increase. Hopefully this information is helpful to you as you continue on in your math career. Thank you for watching.